For a developing country like Nigeria, the focus of government on the provision of infrastructure is paramount for economic development and well-being of the people. In fact, basic assumptions based on stimulating GDP growth is contingent on commitments and milestones achieved in sectoral transformation of all infrastructure, construction, cutting across roads, power, rail, ports and many others. Since coming into office, the Buhari administration has taken pragmatic steps towards achieving new focus of development, with huge spending running into billions of naira to address infrastructure deficit, and is still work in progress, just as clamor by Nigerians is unending for improved national spending across areas yet to be addressed. On Weekend File tonight, development of heavy infrastructure in roadways, ports, bridges, energy plants and railroads are the talking points as we navigate through states of the Federation to bring to you update on what is happening. Ni Akinsuju, a public affairs analyst, will be my guest during the discussion segment as he joins me live. This is Weekend File, and I am Joseph Johnson. As always, the news comes first. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger State has commended the joint effort of security agencies, community leaders and other stakeholders that led to the rescue of the 38 abducted students of Government Science School, Kagara. He was speaking while receiving the rescued students at the government house. Mina Husseina Musa reports.
Mood and air of uncertainty in Niger State have finally been taken over by a sigh of relief and happiness with the return of 38 abductees, comprising of 24 students, 6 staff and 8 non-teaching staff who regained freedom after 10 days in captivity. It was, however, an emotional sight to behold as parents shed tears of joy and gratitude for the safe return of their loved ones.
Thank the government of Niger State for the effort he made to make this student release safely. For the last few days or 10 days back, I didn't find it very easy in my life.
I was not happy because I'm not even sleeping.
By hearing and I saw my children with my naked eye.
Our sister and our 5 children. We thank God.
Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, who confirmed that the returnees are medically fit, but will still be under close examination before being reunited with their families.
And I can confirm that all rescued victims from Kagara Science College are here, 38 in number, even though we have one still in the hospital suffering from excessive exhaustion.
He also speak on the commitment of government at all levels to curtail the menace.
We are putting in place a system to look at the causes of these events. In the next few days, in the course of my conversation with major stakeholders, I hope we will find solution to this bastardly act.
The governor thereafter interacted with the abducted students, staff and their families. Mina Husseina Musa, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has welcomed the release of the abducted students of Government Science College, Kagara, Niger State. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President commended the nation's security and intelligence agencies and the government of Niger State for their responses in securing the release. President Buhari expressed happiness over the release, sympathizing with the staff and the students, their parents and friends on the ordeal. He, however, warned that the country will not continue to suffer these attacks that threaten the growth of education, the security and life of the future leaders, at the same time putting the nation in a negative light. The president reiterated his earlier advice to school owners, particularly the state and local governments, as well as religious organizations, to scale up security around their schools in line with the standards laid down by the UN-backed Safe School program of the administration. President Buhari once again condemned the school abductions, with latest one at the government girls' secondary school, Jangebe in Zamfara State, and directed all security and intelligence agencies in the country to hunt down the culprits and bring them to justice. Smiles, hugs and congratulatory words were the content of packs of gifts the families of the released abductees of Government Science Secondary School Kagara received this morning. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that this was on the heels of the news of the freedom of the abductees.
It was an early morning call to the home of Mr. and Mrs. Kiaga by neighbors, friends and well-wishers. Others from far away placed phone calls, and the conversations says it all. A cheering news of the release of Hanatu, their daughter and son-in-law, who were held captive along with the Kagara school boys, has filtered in.
It was a joyful news because I myself, I saw them physically.
The mother of the house began to sing a new song. Mr. Kiaga was full of appreciation.
And we thank those people who try for the rescue of our children.
The mother of the house was back in business, with Malam Salmanu's younger brother left to express what is in the air.
We are really happy and we appreciate the effort of the government individuals and those that are praying since the adoption of this. We are happy sincerely.
Mr. Kiaga and Salmana will no doubt continue to receive visitors into their homes days to come, and the icing on the cake will be a reunion with their abducted children. In Kagara, Rafi local government area of Niger State, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
A delegation of the Zamfara State Police Command this Saturday visited GGSS Jangede, where 317 students were abducted. The delegation, led by the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Criminal Investigation Department, CID Muhammad Umar, was conducted round the school premises, particularly the various students' hostels where the abduction took place. Correspondent Haliru Muhammad Umar reports that the visit was aimed at assessing the scene of the incident. The delegation also went around a joint security outpost located close to the school, where he had an interface with the officers and men on duty. The school is still deserted and people are going about their businesses, even as parents and guardians of the abductees are anxious to get their children back safely. In the meantime, the United Nations has condemned the abduction of 317 secondary school students in Zamfara State. Similarly, the spokesperson for the president of the 72nd session of the General Assembly, Brandon Varma, said the General Assembly received the message of President Muhammadu Buhari on the issue and urged their abductors to release them unhurt.
As we've said before, schools should always remain a safe space to learn without fear of violence. And according to UNICEF in Nigeria, the latest attack happened overnight. Peter Hawkins, the UNICEF representative in Nigeria, called on those responsible to release the girls immediately and for the government to take steps to ensure their safe release and the safety of other school children in the country.
On Nigeria, the president said he was shocked by kidnapping of 317 girls from their school in northwest Nigeria. He noted that this is the third mass abduction of children since December in that country. He stressed that no child anywhere should be afraid to go to school, and he expressed hope that the girls were unharmed and would be freed soon.
In the same vein, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has condemned the abduction of hundreds of female students from the government girls' secondary school, Jangebe, Zamfara State. In a statement by the Permanent Secretary, Bashir Nura Al-Khali, the minister expressed concern over the abduction and assured parents of the federal government's determination in securing their release. While in Kano, as part of proactive measures, the state government has closed down 16 boarding schools with immediate effect. Commissioner of Education Muhammad Sanusi Said Kiru said the closure is in line with security challenges. Muhammad Rabi Ali reports.
The rate at which abduction of school children in northern part of the country is quite alarming. The recent incident was that of government girls' secondary school Jangebe, Zamfara State. This prompted Kano State government to close down schools, mindful of insecurity bedeviling some boarding schools in neighboring states.
I realized that there are security challenges in almost all our neighboring states, and we also have boarding schools along the border local governments, and in some highways we feel it is appropriate to close down these schools until further notice, until when we are convinced that the security situation has improved greatly. Virtually, we close 16 schools now.
The reopening of the schools will be communicated in due course. Muhammad Rabi Ali, NTA News.
Let's bring you some of the other news now. The waiting game is over as both lanes of the Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos are finally open to traffic. Dr. Nogoyemi reports.
It has been a tale of congestion along previously designated alternative routes, while a time schedule regulation was in place to guide morning and evening traffic along the Third Mainland Bridge since the 24th of July 2020. 7 months down the line, 12 expansion joints, 3 bearings and abutments changed, potholes filled, lane markings and signs drawn. Motorists have finally breathed a sigh of relief following the full reopening of the bridge.
After so much anticipation for the full reopening of the Third Mainland Bridge, it is official. The bridge has now been declared open by officials of the Ministry of Works and Housing following the superstructure repair works that have now been completed.
So I'm very happy, and I'm using this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Works, Mr. Babatunde Rajifashola, to our host state, that's a Lagos State, in particular His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
As the bridge reopens, repair works continue for another 12 months, while routine maintenance will now be prioritized.
From time to time, we will continue to check all the necessary members of the bridge to check whether they are okay.
Federal Controller of Works restated the restriction placed on articulated vehicles from plying the bridge, as anyone found in violation will be arrested and vehicles impounded. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi is worried over vandalism of railway equipment across the country. The minister made the observation during the monthly inspection tour of the Lagos-Ibadan railway line. Oyinaya Kaluaka reports.
While at the monthly inspection tour, the Minister of Transportation, Chibike Rotimi Amechi, lamented that despite federal government's efforts at reviving the rail line, the rate of vandalism along Makurdi, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Minna, Plateau, and Nasarawa is overwhelming.
It's mostly on the Port Harcourt Maiduguri, just because we announced that we want to commence work. So criminals are now going to vandalize this, and believing that we'll remove them.
In some of these places, a whole red track, which includes rail sleepers, clips, bolts, and long iron bars, are completely removed by the vandals.
Them that we are not going to tolerate it. Anybody we find will make sure that they face the full arms of the law.
We're going to commence Port Harcourt Maiduguri track now. With that rehabilitation and reconstruction, you also see some surveillance systems along the line.
On the Lagos-Ibadan rail line, the minister disclosed that the number of trips will be increased with the control of human traffic.
It's an achievement. This is the first time we've been able to ride the train up onto the terminus of the port.
Inauguration is expected to be held on March 2021. Construction work for the renovation of the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri rail line is to be flagged off next month. Oyinaya Kalo Oka, NTA News.
The federal government has given a boost to the energy capacity of the Federal University of Petroleum, Efrun, with additional 1.35 megawatt solar hybrid project for 24 hours power supply to the university and beyond. The project was inaugurated by its Deputy Senate President Ovie Omo-Ogege. Tessie Koka reports.
With a breath of fresh air, the students of the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Efrun, Delta State, can now enjoy uninterrupted power supply. They were overwhelmed with the joy and profound gratitude to President Buhari for the initiative, thanks to the energizing education program.
So with this one, we are going to have more. We are going to build our own rigs because students can read more. This team must continue to work and the capacity can even improve. This is a science-based university.
For us at MEDCA, this is a remarkable initiative that gives us the opportunity to mark our contribution towards providing sustainable energy access.
The Deputy Senate President Ovie Omo-Ogege, while chronicling the birth of FUPRE, noted that the inauguration of the project will create employment and boost the country's economy.
And we now have been obliged by Mr. President, so we have to own this project and protect it. And this message, which has already delivered to our younger ones, our students here, it is now our own. We should not vandalize it, because the moment anything happens to it, we are done for.
He was later conducted around the facilities. The Deputy Senate President made a presentation of certificates to the participants of an energizing education program. The program is an initiative of the federal government aimed at providing sustainable and clean power supply to 37 federal universities and 7 university teaching hospitals across Nigeria. In Efru, Tessie Koka, NTA News.
Well, you're watching Weekend File, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. Let's take some messages now, and when we return, we will be heading straight to the business of the day with focus on heavy infrastructure. Join us again.
John, you can use our toilet now.
Ew! My mommy said I should always use a toilet that is cleaned with Hypo toilet cleaner. James will bite my bum bum.
John, what's the problem? Use Hypo Toilet Cleaner. Introducing the new and affordable Hypo Toilet Cleaner. Kills germs and deodorizes your toilet.
Nigeria is too big a nation to have just a few people making decisions. We all have to get involved. We all have to be heard. People always talk like there are two Nigeria, the government and the people, when in actuality the people are the government. Fixing Nigeria isn't a one-man program. It is all of ours collectively. Therefore, we must all get involved by participating actively in the system that brings forth good leadership. I would like to see a Nigeria where the bond we share is stronger than our tribal, gender, age, class, and religious differences. A Nigeria where everybody's voice counts. Get involved. Register now to join the All Progressives Congress. I am Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, and I approve this message.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes.
To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains remover. Harpic's thicker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergent and bleach.
Wow! Now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah!
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
The second wave of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is upon us.
To safeguard lives of our people, government has signed the Health Protection Regulations, which makes wearing a face mask mandatory in public places.
Wear a mask. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. And use hand sanitizer.
COVID-19 is real. Do not be infected. Do not spread it. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
You're watching Weekend File with me, Joseph Johnson. Let's begin this segment by taking off from Lagos, where Dr. Ogunyemi reports that the infrastructural renewal at the Center of Excellence is translating to improved economic and social development.
The Lagos Port Complex and the Tinkan Island ports are a hub of commercial and shipping activities, but roads leading to the port have over the years borne the cost of daily transactions with revenue shortfalls. However, that narrative is changing with the roads now under construction and the coming on board of the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line, which has been linked to the port.
The extension of the standard gauge to the port will boost transport needs and manufacturing. Government should not relent on its efforts to invest in the development of infrastructure.
The Apapa Owodoshoki Expressway reconstruction, which is designed as reinforced concrete, has achieved significant progress linking the ports.
We are making progress. By the end of the first half of this year, I can assure Apapa Port users that we will have the best roads you have in the world.
Aside road, several bridges are also undergoing repair. Worthy of mention is the Eco Bridge, where phase 1 of the repairs have been completed.
The contractor has already mobilized for the second phase of Eco Bridge, and you can see that they have almost completed the jacketing of the piers, which means the expansion joint is the next thing that we are going to install on the Eco Bridge.
With appreciable progress so far made, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing seeks to consolidate on its achievement in major road projects across the state. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
Turning to Kano now, where irrigation and road infrastructure are among key projects being executed, and Abdullahi Mustafa shares with us what he saw.
Gari Dam, constructed more than 40 years ago, could not be fully harnessed until the last few months. This was after a failed attempt to develop irrigation infrastructure for all year-round cultivation of 2,113 hectares of land between 1997 and 1999 by the defunct Petroleum Special Trust Fund, PTF. Farmers' Hope was in 2019 renewed with the review and re-award of the contract by the federal government at the cost of 12.2 billion naira. It is projected that the irrigation infrastructure will enable annual production of 9,000 metric tons of rice, 50,000 metric tons of vegetables, 2,000 metric tons of wheat, over 500 metric tons of maize, plus other minor crops, all with a potential value of more than 2 billion naira per annum. Already, Sector 1 of the project has been completed and allocated to farmers who commenced work in earnest.
I'm very, very happy, and I thank God our President, General Buhari, and as he make so serious effort on this project.
While new irrigation facility is being provided here, the federal government is also expending more than 500 million naira on the rehabilitation of Thomas irrigation infrastructure. With this intervention, farmers who could not irrigate their farms for more than 10 years are now back to business. Another key project is the continuation of Kano-Maiduguri road dualization work.
We are 100% assured that any work we do within the school will be paid in the shortest possible time.
At present, Section 1 is at 67% completion stage, with flyover bridge, interchange and other concrete works executed around Wudil town to ensure free flow of vehicular traffic. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa.
And in Rivers State, our correspondent Robinson Daratede was at the 40 kilometers Bodo-Boni Link Road and reports that work is at advanced stage with commuters within the Ogoni axis already plying some parts of the road.
Now, passengers and traders traveling to the Boni Island have been facing the challenge of high cost of transport to ferry their goods. The award of the Bodo-Boni Link Road in October 2017 brought a sight of relief to the people, especially as it will reduce the movement of people on the waterways, resulting to reduction in pirate attacks. The 40-kilometer project traverses 3 local government areas of Gokana, Andoni, and Boni, with 3 major bridges, 9 mini bridges, 1 pipeline crossing bridge, and 3 roundabouts.
This road was designed for Boni people, but as you can see, is Mogo people, even the Gokana, benefit even much more than the Boni. So I appreciate the president for his vision towards the Gon people for creating this kind of a road here.
I really appreciate the government because if not the effort they put in, definitely the way the work has been going and stop on and often, maybe up till now the work will not continue up to this extent.
Supervisors of the project say, as of January 2021, 34% of the total project has been completed. 1 major bridge and 2 mini bridges are substantially completed, with 4.4 kilometers of the road asphalted from the border axis. Drainage between the first 5 kilometers have also been constructed, with the government considering the inclusion of prefabricated vertical drains along the creek,
which will be at an interval of 1.5 meter along this stretch down into the creeks where we are already doing bush clearing.
The project is expected to be completed in October 2022. From Bodo in Rivers State, Robinson Daratede, NTA News.
It's not only about the urban area, but the rural areas are also having a bite of the cake as the people of Ohafia and Arochukwu now connect with Umuahia, the Abia state capital, after decades of denial. And Steve Lonai Mwaokolo reports.
In rural communities in Ohafia, Bende and Isukwato local government areas of Abia State, the presence of federal contractors engaged in the construction of roads is something novel to them, as most of the federal and rural roads, which had been neglected for up to 30 years, are now receiving attention. The roads, which are more than 20 in number, the people say is a blessing to them.
We have prayed for this very project several times, but I thank God today that God have answered our prayer.
The road we left and came here was done by President Buhari as chairman of PTF. And when he left in 1998, nothing happened to it. It took President Muhammad Buhari's government of APC to do that road.
Many people are trooping, registering for APC because they've now seen that it's only in APC that they will get what they want from the democracy.
Other road projects by the federal government are the Umuahia Ikwano Ikotakbene Road, which is worth 13.2 billion naira.
We, the people of Ikwano, we are very grateful for this dream come true.
We are thanking Mr. President for approving this job for us. This road is not only Abia people or Ikwano people that is using the road.
We had a consultation with the controller of works
He mentioned that there are certificates that are still awaiting payment. So if there's anything they can do to pay them so that they can facilitate this job, I think we'll be happy.
The ongoing Port Harcourt-Enugu road project is another road people are celebrating. Inumwahia, Steve Lonai, Waokolo, NTA News.
From road infrastructure, let's take you to the blue economy in Warri Delta State. A deep blue waters seaport project is ongoing, courtesy of the federal government, and Thelma Eliogu pips into the benefits of this maritime project.
Instituted by the Maritime Security Oriented Act of 2019, the Deep Blue Sea Port Project is to compulsorily address insecurity and criminality in Nigeria's territorial waters and exclusive economic zones. The heavy infrastructural development will also enhance interagency cooperation between the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA) and the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA), saddled with the responsibility to ensure the takeoff and running of the project.
The Deep Blue Sea project is going to be a welcome development as far as Delta State is concerned. Only 2 days ago, I had a walking visit with some tank farms in the Koko and Ogara area, and they were all clamoring for a proper drainage of the water channels between the Atlantic Ocean and the seaport. So if that project comes on board, it will allow for larger vessels to access our seaports, and it's also good for the economy.
Deltans are of the view that the takeoff of the project will bring about an upsurge of economic activities at the ports, with its multiplier effect of job creation, less threats from pipeline vandalism, piracy, illegal fishing, etc.
If guys create that, we have job. We have the youth to come in there and have job or have work to do.
At least for once, we have been crying for this for a very long time. So we say thank you for the federal government, and they are doing a very good job.
If they are coming to this kind of plan in this area, I believe will be a good idea, bring a job opportunity to our youths.
According to online reports, between August 2019 and June 2020, 80% of the necessary assets for the takeoff of the seaport infrastructure have been procured and launched by NIMASA. In Warri, Thelma Eliogu, NTA News.
Let's start our conversations now as being joined by Niyi Akinsuju, a finance and investment analyst. Niyi Akinsuju, welcome to Weekend File.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, so for starters, let's look at this holistically. Where are we with regards to heavy infrastructure in Nigeria?
Well, I think to understand where we are, we should also look at where we are coming from. You know, that would properly contextualize how far we have gone, especially for those who have not been following up things. You know, as of 2015, when this administration came into office, we were near in a state of zero. You know, when it comes to even the size of our economy and, of course, the kind of infrastructure we had. Now, I quickly want to say that a number of analysts will tell you that the average rate of our growth, our GDP growth between 2005 and 2015 was 6.5%. But what drove that growth? Increase, or rather high price of crude oil, and of course high quantity of crude oil produced. But unfortunately, rather than investing in infrastructure, we were consuming, we were drinking, we were eating rice and all that. And so much that out of the estimated $940 billion, you know, made in between 1999 and 2016, not up to $130 billion, you know, was invested in infrastructure in Nigeria. So yes, we had growing GDP figures, but we were more or less importing everything and we're eating at the level of the government, at the level of the citizens and all that. Things were relatively cheap and we're happy about it. And the first sign of trouble in 2014, when price of crude oil crashed between May and June 2014, everything went into a bedlam. By April 2015, 12 states had gone into bankruptcy. They could not pay salaries. of their workers for 10 months. Another 12 to 15 states could not pay salaries for about 3 months, So essentially, talking about infrastructure too, you could not actually point to significant roads, power generation and power distribution, bridges, and all that. So we had issues. Of course, the truth is that I'm saying out of about $900 and something billion that were generated in those years, we only were able to invest just about $120 billion, and of course it will reflect. So I think one should especially again commend the president, the turnaround of the economy, because we were headed for a recession, given the fact that our GDP had fallen on the back of that crash in price of crude oil from a high of 6.50% in second quarter 2014, had fallen consistently, for 4 quarters through to second quarter 2015. So we're headed for a recession. And despite that recession, the administration, as it were, persuaded me of its conviction and capacity by beginning to invest in infrastructure right from that period of crisis. You've heard of the Bonibodo road now. 2017, we were just about getting out of recession. The second Niger bridge was initiated, because it had been lying on paper for more than 30 years, it was in 2016, in the thick of that recession, that it was activated, And of course, you also know the long not maintained Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, All these roads were also abandoned, more or less. Now, but the difference now is that by that 2016, in the thick of that recession, the president now came up with the idea of the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund. Now, I think it takes critical thinking to arrive at that position. What is that position? The country government over the years had always abandoned, projects because of cash flow. A certain amount of money will be budgeted for certain projects, but by the time you get 6 or 7 months into the project, there will be no funding. It will be abandoned. And of course, by the time it's been reactivated another year or 2 years, there will be variation. It's likely you have 100% increase, in completing that work again. And that could go on and on. But the difference now is that for critical infrastructural projects, like the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, the second Niger Bridge, the Mambila power plant, 3,050 power plants, the Abuja, Kaduna, Kano Express Road, and I think with 2 or 3 other projects, they have been ring-fenced, into what is known as the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund that is being managed by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. So much that no matter what, even where oil stopped flowing today, the fund is now available to complete those projects, as it were.
Okay, all right. Let me just pause there for now. When we return after these messages, we'll be taking them one after the other, narrowing down to specifics. Okay. So stay with us. Let's just take some messages.
We just having a good time, and I'm feeling so good.
Where you did? I dey come now. You go see me now. You go.
Call your body and everybody, make we start to the.
Where you did now? You go see me now.
Everybody they dance.
Where you did now? You go see me now. I'm fine, sir. Even me, I surprised.
Hey, where you at? Go Mexico, even Jericho, I'm gonna let you go.
Hello, how are you?
Tell us one truth nobody knows.
I like to steam it from my mama's pot.
Glow, the best data plans in town. Dial *777#.
television backs now before the final whistle blows.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth. Dentists recommend Sensodyne. It's able to calm the nerve of the tooth. It works.
New Sensodyne Extra Whitening Toothpaste. Extra whitening action for sensitive teeth.
You're still watching NTA Weekend File. Let's bring you some stories before we get back to our discussion. Uchenna Nwekoyo from Onitsha tells us that contractors of the 11.9 kilometers second Niger Bridge, a strategic project in the southeast, is making headway to meet up its deadline for completion.
7 kilometers away from the old bridge, the second Niger Bridge is gradually taking shape. The bridge, which is 1.6 kilometers length, has 3.3 kilometers approach road from Delta and 7 kilometers approach road from Anambra. Incremental launching of bridge deck from axis northwest approach has been completed, while east approach is nearing completion. The project director, Frederick Weiser, said the entire project will be completed September 2022.
At this point, we are now at the Obosi interchange. That is practically the end of this project phase 1. Now the phase 1 is going to be completed by end of September 2022.
The project also has 3 secondary bridges, one at Okom Amakom Delta State, which has been completed, another at Atani Road, Anambra State, also completed, while work has reached advanced stage at the Obosi Owerri Road Interchange Bridge.
I must say a big thank you to our President, President Muhammad Buhari, for commissioning this very laudable project.
When completed, the bridge, which has 3 lanes dual carriage, is expected to decongest traffic on the existing bridge. In Onitsha, Uchenna Nwekoyo, NTA News.
Down the south, precisely in Benin, Ogochukwuka Ona brings us an update on the Auchi-Okene Road and the Benin-Shagamu stretch.
The construction of the dual carriageway on the Benin-Auchi-Okene Highway is progressing. The project between Auchi and Okpela is one of the Phase 1 contracts awarded to the Mother Cats Limited, and it is over 50% completed with the dual carriageway and concrete median already in use. The next phase is the construction of underparts, popularly known as flyover, at the Jet2 junction, but this has led to the suspension of work on that axis, while work is still on at the Okpela end, with a portion being filled. The project, which started in 2014, was designed to be completed in 2020, but this has been extended.
This side of the road that they have worked on actually it has gone to some extent to reduce the vehicular traffic on the road.
Quality of work is good, except that the pace is exceptionally slow.
It would be better if the road is being done well, at least to reduce the risk of accidents.
The A121 140 miles Benin Shagamu project comprises the rehabilitation and upgrade of the existing 384 kilometers 2-lane highway. Although the controller of works, Edo States, or the contractors were unavailable for comments, information gathered online indicates that it is among the 10 major highways in the country in the federal government's concession plans announced in June 2020.
From Okadana to Shagamu, it's okay. Go reach Adibadele. From Adibadele they go, they do what they call double lane.
Gochkuka Ona, NTA News.
All right, I still have with me here in the studio Ni Akinsuju. He is a finance and investment analyst. All right, so we were talking, you gave us a background. Now let's narrow it down to specifics. And I want to begin with roads, because in the grand scheme of things, quality road is a major foundation and mainstay of a thriving economy. How would you appraise the state of Nigerian roads?
Well, like I said, it also depends on where we are coming from.
if by 2015 we hardly had up to 6,000 kilometers of road, that are functional, it will talk to, of course, the numbers of hours, the journey, your journey time, and that also impacts the ease of doing business, impacts cost of freight, cost of logistics, and all that. But since then, out of the 35,000 kilometers of road that the federal government is responsible to, we can't say that up to between 15,000 and 20,000 are under construction now, and that's inclusive of bridges that are sometimes as long as 200, 300 meters, So I think to a large extent, we are seeing, you just showed us Benin, Shagam Road that I am conversant with. I know that back in the days, you hardly find a comfortable ride, stretch of space, to comfortably drive on Benin Shagam. It's either you are facing yourself on traffic or you are avoiding potholes and all that. But the quality of the road is even different, either in terms of the layer or in terms of the expansion. So there's ambience. I've also driven on Abuja, Kaduna, Kano, and exciting. I feel that it's still being constructed, but I feel the refreshment, of those roads. And of course, it's far-flung. We're talking about the second Niger bridge. The second Niger bridge had got to a point that it has become a subject of cynicism. In that side of the country. When you talk about it, people just think you're joking, But now it has become reality. When the president first talked about investing in it, some people around that area said it was not possible. That is how it has been. It has been a promise, all this while. But now we can see that reality coming on. In Lagos, the Oroshoki through to Apapa Port Road was principally a major headache. But now, with creative intervention through the tax credit programming, there have been private intervention, and we are seeing smooth roads also. So across the country, it is not as if we are there yet. We are talking about 35,000 kilometers of roads. But what is sure is that we are seeing engagement. Every week we see approval for road contracts and all that. And don't forget that what the administration is doing would of course contrast to the situation we are in 2015, where contractors were owed more than 3 trillion naira, and they had to abandon sites. And in doing that, they were laying off their workers and all that, and of course that also led us into that recession. For the contractors to go back, the federal government, from my reading, actually had to issue promissory notes, so that every year now there's a percentage of that debt that the federal government pay off contractors, So it is not just about what is going on now, but of course about clearing, the backlog of debts.
Okay, let's take another aspect in the air, because one of the administration's key component of economic recovery plans is rebuilding of national structures. How far are we in that regard?
Well, of course, the more you rebuild, the more you rehabilitate national structures, the better. The National Theatre, for instance, is a major call point here. That had been an iconic structure for the Nigerian Federation, and as old as our modern day history. The way it was run down, the way it was managed, but now, and of course, that running down of that structure affected the entertainment industry, as it were, because that was the center of film and cinema back in the days, even up till 2003, 2004. So when the parceling out of the way it is even parceled out for reconstruction, and rehabilitation, and the vision itself is exciting. In that Igomu axis, you're going to have the ambience of 5-star hotels. You are going to have ambience of standard shopping mall. You're going to have so many numbers of cinemas and all that. Okay. It's and it's not just that alone. Our stadiums are being rejuvenated. I just heard now that the National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos, will start hosting the Super Eagles. That is the heart of the Nigerian football fans. Because there was a time we believed that once we are playing, once the Super Eagles is playing in that national stadium, it is not possible for anybody to triumph over us.
Okay, so we are running out of time, but I really want to ask you this question. So, earlier on, off camera, you talked about stomach infrastructure. I want to understand that because how would you describe the bane? What would you say is the bane of infrastructural decay, especially in a climate like ours?
It's consumption. When a government is not conscious of the value infrastructure, bring to the economy, what they do is just to allow for consumption. And when you consume, you don't have anything, to tie down. It is established in the economy that when you invest $1, you will get at least 5%, between 5 and 25% earnings, from that dollar you invested in infrastructure. But if you invest in consumption, it is just consumption. It goes into the thin air, as it were.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid we're going to have to end it at this point. Thank you, Niyi Akinsuju, finance and investment analyst. It was really exciting speaking with you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, so let's take some messages. Stay with us.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Let's bring you sports now. Nigeria's junior boys and girls volleyball teams moved to Abuja in preparation towards Continental Championship. Olumide Eguntala has this and more on Sports Update.
Having spent 4 weeks in camp in Kaduna, the Nigeria's representatives in the forthcoming CAVB Under-18 Girls and Under-19 Boys African Nations Volleyball Championship that will serve up from March 1st to March 9th in Abuja arrived in the nation's capital for the last preparation towards the Continental Championship.
They are battle ready. A good result will come out of it.
Look, we have made a very good preparation, and I pray to God Almighty that we wish to remain the top.
In another development, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, at the ceremonial opening of the revived National Principles Corps, assured Nigerians that the country is at the verge of ruling the world again with the repackaged competition.
We hope that by doing this country can begin to create an industry of talents.
And from there, we can look forward to getting more talents that will take over from the aging legs.
We have also added a few other sports so that it's not about football only.
These youths will be assisted and they will be off the streets.
Still on football, Abia Warriors consolidated its league standing with a long goal victory over Wiki Tourists in a Week 12 match played on Saturday. And in the Nigerian National League, result of matches played indicates that stationary stores fell 1-2 to Osun United. Gateway Football Club humbled Apex Crane 2-0, while the affair between Newi and Van Dresser ended 1-goal apiece, among other results. From Ilorin, Abdulwahid Bibire reports that the Kwara State Printing Corporation, publishers of the Herald newspaper, emerged champion of the maiden edition of Swan Jide Fashiku Under-17 football tournament with a long goal victory over Radio Kwara in the final match.
Jide was instrumental to reawakening sports development.
Contributed immensely to the development of Nigerian athletes.
From the English Premier League, Manchester City extended its lead on the table with 13 points after a 2-1 victory over West Ham United. West Bromwich Albion stay afloat in the relegation water with a long goal victory over Brighton and Hove Albion, among other matches played on Saturday. With sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
The remains of Mrs. Helen Ene have been laid to rest in her country home, Nachi village in Udi local government area of Enugu State. A release by Stephen Ene on behalf of the family indicates that a Thanksgiving and outing service holds on Sunday, 28th of February 2021. Late Mrs. Helen Ene was 76 years old and is survived by children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. The 12th Chief of the Air Staff, late Air Marshal Nsika Edwok, is buried in Akwa Ibom State. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
A sorrowful occasion, the line in state service of the late Air Marshal Edwok was an opportunity to celebrate the impact he made both in service and in retirement.
And he was a very dependable statesman. He did not fail at any point in time to call on me or send a message to me that we should meet and resolve critical issues.
The demise of this confident Air Marshal will spur us to rededicate ourselves to God and in the service of our dear nation.
A seasoned fighter pilot, late Air Marshal Nsika Edwok started his career as a studio manager with the Voice of Nigeria before enlisting for basic military training at the Nigerian Defense Academy and was one of the first indigenes of Akwa Ibom State to join the Nigerian Air Force. He later proceeded to the Primary Flying Training School, Kaduna, emerging best all-round student.
The passion was about flying. He flew almost all aircraft. A man of excellence and very handsome indeed.
He taught us to live the excellent life, to always want to better our best.
Meanwhile, on Friday, before the state funeral, the Chief of the Air Staff paid a condolence visit to Governor Udom Emmanuel and also thanked the government and people of Akwa Ibom State for the speedy approval of 30 hectares of land for the proposed Nigerian Air Force Air Traffic Services Training Center. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
And that's Weekend File for this week. Thank you very much indeed for being a part of it. I'm Joseph Johnson. Remember to always connect with the NTA to stand against rape and rapists. Good night.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
NTA News. When the news breaks, we mend it and present it without blemish.
NTA News, authentic and authoritative.
This is the network service of the NTA.
I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wire abi mi o wire. Teacher ló mọ̀, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Teacher jọ̀wọ́, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Ọmọ onírẹsì ti dé.
Ajebo na better school for last gidi. Not be all this on a rugged school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. Kadesi. We no happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders too. Hey, we are trying, shao. Sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I mean, I talk with that now.
Not for me.
You want me to die?
Not for me because of Pamio.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA TV College Jos invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Intermediate online news reporting skills. Date 1st March to 12th March 2021. 2 weeks. Studio lighting indoor and outdoor. Date 1st March to 5th March 2021. 1 week. Modern trends in broadcast media marketing. Date 15th March to 9th April 2021. 4 weeks. Understanding public service rules and mastering the art of standard minute writing, reports, memoranda, and briefs. Date 15th February to 12th March 2021. 4 weeks. The course fee for the 4-week courses is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for the 2-week course is 80,000 naira, while the course fee for the 1-week course is 40,000 naira only. Accommodation inclusive. Venue for all the courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be.
The second wave of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is upon us.
To safeguard lives of our people, government has signed the Health Protection Regulations, which makes wearing a face mask mandatory in public places.
Wear a mask. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. And use hand sanitizer.
COVID-19 is real. Do not be infected. Do not spread it. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. 36,000 kilometers of federal roads network is by far the most single valuable public infrastructure asset owned by the federal government of Nigeria. Virtually over 80% of goods and services are transported by roads, leading to tremendous pressure on the roads. While there are various statistics on the true conditions of federal roads, there is a consensus among Nigerians that our roads infrastructure could be better. The state of the roads take a heavy toll on the nation, with an estimated vehicle operating cost of about 500 billion naira annually, while the losses in man-hours could be as much as 10 billion hours per year. The road network has resulted in low productivity, especially in the agriculture sector, where costs occasioned by delays, disruptions, and destructions incurred in moving produce from farms to markets are high. The national economy suffers innumerable losses as a result. Thus, a good road network where Nigerians can connect one location to another at a desirable time is crucial. As Nigeria's first institutional mechanism for monitoring and maintaining all federal roads in the country, it is the responsibility of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency to efficiently and effectively monitor, rehabilitate, and administer road maintenance with the objective of keeping all federal roads in good and safe condition. Welcome to Eye on the Road, brought to you by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, a weekly informative and educational update where we show you the great strides the agency is making in carrying out its mandate of monitoring and maintaining federal roads.